All right, says I'm live. How's it going, guys? Friday night. Hopefully, you guys have had a good week and looking forward to the weekend and whatnot. Thought I'd talk tonight a little bit about the WASR AK, and it's kind of an old reliable standard, right? And some of you guys that are really into the AK, aficionados, people that collect these guns, it might be a little boring to you. But I've had a lot of newer people lately coming into my videos, asking me questions like, "Well, I'm thinking about getting my first AK. What would be a good AK to get into?" These common questions like, do you like foreign imported AKs? Do you like the new USA made? What do you think about the Palmetto, whether it's Gen 1, 2, or 3, or, what about Zastava arms? So I've been getting a lot of questions lately that kind of give me the impression that there's, some people out there that either just want to get their first AK just to see what it's like, or maybe they want to become an AK guy. So I thought I'd just talk a little bit tonight about, a couple different options, like some of the cheaper kit builds to get into, as far as factory built, foreign guns. What are a couple options that, are kind of on a budget? Not that there's really any such thing as a budget AK nowadays, but you guys know what I mean. Because it's real easy to say, well, go back and get, a Chinese 56S-1, great gun, which of course it is. Or an old Kasner import, SA-85, Hungarian. Well, yeah, that's awesome too, but not a lot of people really want to spend $2,000, $2,500 to get, their first AK, no matter how good it is. So it's kind of one of those things where it seems like a lot of us that have been into the AK forever almost kind of forget about the WASR a little bit. So there's a lot of talk about, like I said, the Zastava arms are out now. They're also good rifles, but I thought I'd just talk a little bit about the WASR. You guys know what I'm saying. Let's see who's in here tonight. We got Brastard. He said, you again. Oh, yeah, it's me again. Sorry about your luck, man. Matt Morrison, how's it going? Jet001, what's happening, Jet? That was awfully nice of Jet last week. He gave away some Magpul mags that he had. That was really nice of him. Foley Focus is here. What's happening, man? Stephen Kennedy loves his Romanian Draco. I've got one of the micro Dracos right over there. So if any of you guys want to see that, I can pull that out too. All right, good night, Stephen. Well, that was a mosquito that just landed on my chest. I saw it in the camera. Anyways, guys, Jet's a pretty cool guy. You guys probably know who he is already, but if you don't, head over there and check him out. Anyway, so basically, here's the first thing, just to start off. If somebody's saying, hey, look, I'm looking to get my first AK, don't know a lot about the platform, either they've never shot one or maybe shot their buddies or whatever, where should I start? And I'm probably going to recommend a Romanian WASR. I'll just get right out of the gate with that. And this has been a gun I've actually recommended for a long time for several reasons. First of all, by current standards, and this sucks, guys, let me preface it with this. There's no such thing as a truly affordable AK anymore, I mean, it used to be where these things were $300. And unfortunately, those days are done. I don't know if they're ever going to come back. So now when we're talking an affordable AK, unfortunately, we're looking at like maybe $500 or $600, probably closer to $600 for a USA-made AK, or an entry-level affordable import like this Romanian Cougar-made WASR. We're talking about $700. So unfortunately, and I'll say it one more time, it sucks. This is now considered to be a budget AK, $700. Real quick here, Steven has to close the shop. I'm going to run over here and digress for 1 second and show this micro Draco. Then we'll get back to the WASR. All right, guys, here's the micro Draco. This is also a Romanian made gun, made in Romania. Right there, Romarm Cougar. So this is made in the same famous military factory that, made all of the Model 63s, Model 65s, Model 64 RPKs. This is the state-owned, military arsenal factory that served Romania all throughout the com block, and then also today too. So there's your Micro Draco. That's a little pistol. The way it sits right now, kind of more of a range toy, but with a brace, it becomes a lot more functional, obviously. Super short barrel, flamethrower, a little bit jumpy, but hey, it's pretty cool. Pretty concealable, actually. And of course, it's a pistol, so it can be carried, you know, in my state with a CPL. But yeah, this is an imported pistol. And since it's a pistol, guys, you guys might know this, but the Section 922R that people worry about, that only applies to long guns. So this is 100% Romanian. All the parts are foreign made. No need to have what's called 922R compliance parts for import reasons. This has an original Romanian trigger. You'll notice it's not going to say TAPCO or anything like that on there. I would note, they don't do this on their WASRs, and we're going to get to this in a second, but they do have the dimpled receiver. They do have the X and Y stampings. So this is a little more, even though it's a pistol, obviously, but the receiver is actually a little more military correct than some of Romania's long gun offerings. So I always thought these were kind of cool. Basically made with, you know, machine gun grade parts on the same assembly line as the military contracts that Romania and their Cougar factory are still fulfilling right now. So hopefully you liked it, Stephen. I know you got to go ahead and close up shop, but they might make them in America now. Not that I know of, but this is all made in Romania. So everything on this part and this gun is made in Romania. All right, let's see who else has dropped in here. Cave Dave, what's happening? He says, hey, Al, is it the hair and makeup live chat? I made it. I know I probably have a lot more followers, and YouTube would promote me higher in the algorithm if I did a makeup channel. Would you guys be interested in that? Should I do the I couldn't be called Glock Shooter. I'd have to be called something else. But, you know, the hair and the makeup channel seems to be the big thing on YouTube nowadays, doesn't it? Yeah, and like some of you guys are saying, you can find some used guns for pretty good prices, and that's kind of luck of the draw. You might get lucky. Sometimes you're getting somebody's lemon. You never know. But I like to buy used guns. You can get used guns a little cheaper. When I say $700 is kind of entry level, that's new, you know, from one of the online places like Atlantic right now, for example. I think their brand new WASR is like $6.99. So thought I saw someone else pop in here. There he is, Mateo 1371. How's it going, man? Ninja Scout's here. What's happening, Ninja? Somebody here said, Matt Morrison said a used Mac 90 can still be found for $700. On a good day, maybe, yeah. A used one, though. So, anyways, back to the WASR. So, like I was saying earlier, this is a foreign import gun. Now, this is a little bit older import. Imported by Century Arms. They've had the exclusive contract to import all of the WASRs basically since its inception. They still do today. Things could maybe change, but from what I understand, they kind of have an indefinite contract to just keep on being the sole importer of these WASRs. So now in the past, we've heard things about the WASR like it sucks. It's got, you know, canned sights and stuff. Well, that's partially true. But what I also think it is it's the whole thing where if you spread one bad rumor, it'll spread like 10 times faster than something good, right? So I think we have to put that into perspective. And also there was a couple different times in recent years where, like, look at when Obama was getting elected the first time, 2008. There was a huge gun panic. And Century basically called up Cougar and said, get us as many rifles as you can, because they could sell unlimited amounts. The only thing that was limiting their sales was how many they had. So they were rushing production of them. We had Sandy Hook, same thing. So yeah, there's some that kind of slip through the cracks here and there. But I don't know, guys. I found a couple WASRs here and there that were like a little bit janky, if you will. But most of them I found, and most of them that I have owned and currently do own, have been solid guns. And some of this comes from, like I said, just one person spreads a rumor and people just love to spread dirt and bad stuff, right? Another thing is some people, I think, kind of have a little bit of false expectations for an AK, especially guys that aren't like, haven't been AK guys their whole life or really into these guns. So certain things, people will say, well, the WASRs have been known to have a little bit of a canted front sight. Well, this one here isn't really canted at all. And I would note that even true mil-spec guns that were made by Russia, Hungary, Bulgaria, Romania, you name it, if your front sight was a little bit off from the rear, all they would do is simply take, there's a press that you use, and you can press this little barrel, if you will, back and forth, left and right, and that's going to change your windage on your front sight post. As long as they could adjust this little front sight post to the left or right, even if it got pretty close to one of the ears, that was still considered to be an in-spec rifle for military purposes. So I think what a lot of us forget sometimes is when you're buying one of these guns from a true military arsenal that, again, was during what we call the com block days, during the Soviet Empire, they weren't buying their guns to sit there and just, dry fire them, look at them, shoot videos about them, polish them, brag to their friends and say, look at my AK's, prettier than your AK. And this is all the stuff we do. Because look, we have the luxury in this country to be able to go work our butts off and have some free time. And these guns are our hobbies and things like that. So there's certain expectations we're going to have of our gun that if you were fighting in a war or if you were simply stockpiling during the Cold War are not going to be of a concern to you. So I think when some people rip on certain things with an AK, it might kind of be because, and don't anyone take this the wrong way, because again, I totally appreciate everything, guys, about how in this country we have the ability to have luxuries, things we save up for, nice things. Well, trust me, I like nice things too. But some of the nitpicky things people do on some of the AKs, it makes me kind of wonder if they really like the AK or not, or if they really understand what it actually is and what its purpose was. So unfortunately, its purpose was to, promote communism, which I totally detest communism, hate everything about that. By no means the fact that I like these combat rifles does that mean that I like their ideologies or the countries that made the guns. Not at all. But if there was one good thing that came out of communism, and I'm saying this with big air quotes for whoever's not watching, okay? If there was a good thing, which there's really nothing good out of it, is they did kind of find a utilitarian design for their weapons where they were able to make them cheap, reliable, easy to use, where someone who's rather untrained can instantly grasp the rifle, learn its basic functions, how to use it, etc. Let me make sure this is clear before I start manipulating it. So things like exactly how far the sight post is drifted to the left or right really didn't matter so much, okay? Especially considering the fact that this gun, of course, being a semi-auto, it only has a 2-position selector, which would be in a safe position or a fire, right? But they had a 3rd position where a lot of times these guns were fired in full auto. And for those of you that have shot a regular, AK carbine length rifle, they're a little bit jumpy. They really are. By no means is the 7.62 by 39 a powerful round, but it's an intermediate round and it has a little bit of kick to it. And let's face it, no matter how much I like this design, it's not the most smoothest shooting gun. We have a huge reciprocating mass above the bore, above the barrel, right? Huge bolt and carrier assembly with a big gas piston connected onto it. And gas just comes out of the barrel, bleeds off a little bit, and just shoves it to the rear of the rifle. And all this rotating mass is above the barrel, okay? So there's several reasons why these guns are a little bit snappy, especially consider firing full auto. Now, we've all seen the stupid YouTube videos and the movies where, the guy with the Hajib's shooting his AK and he ends up like this. Well, maybe not that bad, but even people who are have pretty good control of their gun, you watch them shooting full auto and it's moving around a little bit. So the other thing, these are going to have a Parkerized finish. Gets the job done. Parkerizing, it's more of the grittier Parkerizing. Not the nice Parkerizing that's nice and smooth that you're going to find on like a U.S. service rifle, like a 1917 or a 1903 or an M1 Garand. No, this is a little more of the, 400 grit sandpaper type Parkerizing. Does this matter for you guys? It might. But if you're just worried about your gun going bang, being reliable, I would argue that probably doesn't really matter. So that's what you're going to get in a WASR there. Wood furniture, I'm totally fine with wood furniture. Now, basically what this is this is old Romanian model 63 surplus furniture where they'd actually go through, laminated, and they'd cut the dong grip off and kind of sand a little profile. You can tell that because basically Romania had a couple types of handguards. You would either have the donged handguard or you would have what's called a palm swell handguard. So if you don't see the palm swells in the side of it, that meant you probably had a cut down dong that was, again, reprofiled and sanded. For compliance reasons, for having them imported, they would put a USA made pistol grip on these WASRs. This has the little C for the little Sentry. Depending on when you bought these rifles, they would come with either a Sentry trigger, a Tapco G2, or today if you buy one, it's going to come with a Sentry rack trigger, right? Now, one thing I would note, if you bought a little bit older WASR, and these are still available, guys, on the secondary market. They made tons of them. They were all made from original PM Model 63 parts kits. So we're going to see here the actual original Cougar military roll marks. There we go. There's the arrow pointing up inside the triangle, 1970, and then the serial number. All of these parts on the gun, besides the receiver, and like I said, some of the other compliance parts and whatnot, these were from an original parts kit. So they basically started off by taking their older, turn-ins, their surplus, model PM 63s, and built parts build kits in Cougar, Romania. Now, what makes these kind of cool, and this is why this is still a foreign gun, and I still prefer it over USA made. So, even though we have a new receiver, which we'll get to that in a second, we have military grade parts. We also have a military grade cold hammer forged and chrome lined barrel. Now, there's nitriding out there nowadays. Great process. A lot of people like it. There's the whole chrome line versus non-chrome line debate. Me, if I have a beater or a workhorse AK, something that I just want to shoot and be reliable and last a long time, you really can't go wrong with Com Block factory built, guys. And what do the Com Blocks all use? Cold hammer forged and chrome line barrels. Asterisks, except for a couple little exceptions, like Yugoslavia is one of the main ones, they always ran a non-chrome line barrel in all of their 7.62 by 39 guns, whether it be an SKS or an AK. Now, the interesting thing is, when they went to their M85 series, M90s, things like that, M95s rather, and they had the 5.56s, those were all chrome lined. But for whatever reason, Yugoslavia. So that's an exception. But in general, hey, look, guys, I love American made. Not a problem. I'm an American, small business owner myself. So there's many, many reasons why it's good to support, your local economy, support your local businesses. But if you just want your AK to work and you just want it to be simple, this is what I trust. So, and I'm not just saying that, guys. Again, I don't even really care for Sentry too much. Yeah, they make a little money off of this. They get it imported in. Romanian-made receiver. They have to open up the magwell. They put the compliance parts on there. Yeah, they're the middleman. But I trust the technology and the tooling and the expertise of, craftsmen in Romania that have been building these guns for, 55, 60 years now? And to show you guys that I trust this gun, I just literally took it, out of where I normally keep it in the other front room there. I keep this right behind my desk. So this is actually serving as a potential defensive rifle for me. Yes, I concealed carry. I have bare minimum 1 pistol on my body at all times, usually 2. But something went kind of bad, and I looked up in my security camera and heard the door getting busted in, and there was 6 guys out there, 3 guys even out there that were armed, whether it was with baseball bats or whatever they were. This is what I'm grabbing. It's ready to go, just like this for a reason. So, Tapco mag and all. I know you guys might have your opinions on Tapco. I don't really like hardly any of their stuff, to be honest, but I've always had good luck with their AK mags. I've been using these for years, and they work pretty good, especially in WASRs, because that is one of the things that can be a potential pitfall. On some of these, when Century opened it up from a single stack to a double stack, they were known to make them a little bit too wide on some occasions. So if you have a steel mag, it could have a little bit too much side-to-side wobble. I mean, a little wobble's okay. It's totally fine. Too much wobble, So it's kind of a little tip for you guys. If you've noticed you've got excess mag wobble in your AK, more than what you'd like, try one of these. They're substantially thicker. It's going to take up a little more room in there. This fits very tight in this gun. I mean, there's like literally no, a teeny bit, but by AK standards, no wobble at all. So yeah, like Jet said, they'd be done. I keep this one ready to go right next to where the rifle's sitting. There's 4 more mags just sitting there ready to go. So yeah, I trust these guns. I've spent enough time behind this particular rifle. I've got it sighted in just fine with the iron sights. It's proven to be reliable for me. So let me check up on the chat here. You guys have really, really gotten ahead of me, which is good. I'm glad you guys are having a good time hanging out. I think I was just talking to somebody about my live streams. I said, well, I try to do a good job and entertain the guys, but really I think the reason a lot of them come is because there's so many cool people in the chat and they like talking to each other, which that's what I like too. I'm kind of lucky that I have such a, good group of people that come in here, and you guys have all kinds of conversations, and I enjoy reading them too. Even if I don't catch everything while it's live, I do go back in the following days and kind of reread and see what I missed and see where I screwed up and you guys called me out or whatever. Ooh, Brastard says if you're a real man, you will shoot without ear pro. Man, I've got my Peltor 500 Tactical Sports. That's what I use when I'm mowing grass with the Bluetooth noise canceling. So I've been kind of spoiled. I love that ear pro, by the way. I don't know if you guys have ever tried those before, but the Peltor, the 500 series Tactical Sport, I like them a lot. Oh boy, Mateo, I said, what should my makeup channel be called? And he said, Tranny Shooter 79. Ooh. Yeah, Jet said it best with the sideways. Yeah. I hate to say it though, but I might blow up if I did that. But no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want YouTube fame, so not going to happen. Matt Morrison says WASR is a great rifle in his experience. Ninja Scout says they're nice. So don't take my word for it. Listen to these guys. We got Explicit here. What's happening, man? Nice to see you. He says, sweet, wish I had one. They're banned here in Massachusetts. You can buy one from somebody who already owns one pre-banned, but a no-go through an FFL. That sucks. If you can find one, I recommend getting one, man. I'm sure they've been going up in price, Cole's here. How's it going, man? Got in again. How'd they let you in? Mateo, I thought you were supposed to be blocking the door. How'd you let this guy in? No, good to have you, man. I don't read Cyrillic, but I can translate it later. Oh, okay, Explicit just answered my own question. Guys are asking $1,800, and that's their starting price. Dang. Cave Dave got his Iraq Contractor WASR from Century Arms for $499. I'm going to show one of those in a little bit here. I actually have one. Actually, it's right back just below the camera right here. I also have one of those that are pretty cool. Full auto's BS. For a lot of purposes like we would shoot, yeah. I think there is, there's a military reason to have it. Fire superiority, keeping their heads down, justifying why they need to keep their budget as high as it is for ammo purchases, because I think a lot of budgets are where if you don't use it, you lose it. So it helps with that. So there's some good military reasons. See how many taxpayer dollars you can spend. Cole, why do they cut off the Dawn grips? Well, here's the thing. A lot of people hate them. A lot of people think that's the ugliest thing about a Romanian. And I've heard so many people over the years say, I'll never get a Romanian rifle just because they hate the famous dong so much. Another problem is these guns, and we're going to talk about it in a second, not only do they have to follow the 922R compliance as far as for an importing standard and, with Century and all that, but they also have to follow this other arrangement, an international gun control law. And unfortunately, a forward grip, which is what a dong is, right? A forward grip is considered to be an evil feature by assault weapons ban standards that, yes, expired nationally, but many states still keep the same exact standards in their laws right now. So as stupid as it sounds, we laugh about it and stuff because you kind of take it for granted. But this ugly thing that sticks out down here, this is actually considered an evil feature and would put this into the assault weapons, quote unquote. Now, that's not a thing, guys. If you're air quotes again, if you're just listening, but this makes this an assault weapon by a lot of state standards. So keep that in mind, Cole. I mean, there's so much bureaucracy and political BS and laws and regulations involved in these. It's not even funny. Even the name WASR itself, which I'll explain in a minute, is a bunch of political gun control BS. So, yeah. Yeah, Tree Guy. How's it going, Tree Guy? Good to see you here, man. He says 400 grit sandpaper type. It's kind of what it's like, that 3M wet sandpaper you get for, sanding in between clear coats when you're painting. Yeah. Bastard says there was a guy in Pakistan dancing one-handed, stock folded in the middle of a party, shooting his AK up in the air. Lost control partway and sent half the mag into people, hitting some of them. Oh, my gosh. Is that any worse, though? I think it was an FBI agent we had that was, doing some kind of dance or the splits or something and shot people in the U.S. Doesn't sound much different, does it? I think you guys remember that news story, right? Explicit says, yeah, Pakistani know how to party hard. That's for sure. Yeah, Matt Morrison brings up a good point. He says chrome line M85s are to meet NATO specs. There you go. Because you have to remember, he brings up a good point. Yugoslavia went from part of the com block, kind of, sort of. They were always a little bit on their own. But then after the fall of the Soviet Union, they decided to get more with, the United States and the rest of the NATO allies. So that makes a lot of sense there. What else have we got going on here? Tree Guy said, no, you do a good job. I had to pay him to say that, guys, but don't tell him how much, man. Fully Focused says he likes my clean shirt. This shirt's not that clean, dude. Here, let me stand up. Hold on. See? Just the top of it's clean. The lower part where I'm holding my weed whacker and all that, yeah. So, sorry to disappoint you guys. You thought I cleaned up for you all, but I didn't. I'm still wearing one of my, normal sunscreen shirts. I've got two varieties, the light blue ones and the gray ones. And I got off a lawnmower, shoved some food in my face, and got on camera. Yeah, Matt brings up a good point. The dong is very useful when actually shooting at the range. You could use it from a bench as like a little monopod. You can hold it. I never like to hold my foregrips like this. I like to form more of a, I'll show you guys what I mean. It does provide a stable platform. So I know a lot of people like to hold it like this, which I guess is okay. Not my thing. I've always felt whenever I hold a foregrip like this, the front of the gun feels kind of wobbly. I like to hold it like this, which does give a pretty substantial, grip on it. So I'll hold it like this, and that way I can kind of hold the rifle into my shoulder, steer it right to left. But yeah, I'll show you this side. This is my favorite AK grip right here, guys. If I have the dong. I just knocked something off on the ground, but it's okay. Okay, Matt, you were reading my mind. Pull back into the shoulder. That's exactly what I was saying. We've got M4 Johnny. How's it going, man? He said he just subbed. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Nice to have somebody new here. Lots of good guys that come into this stream. So hopefully, if you have any questions that I can't answer, there's some guys a lot smarter than me that hang out in here. So any kind of questions you have, And by the way, for all of you, I have to keep reminding you guys, if you guys have a question that's specifically for me or something you want me to make sure I see, do at Glock Shooter 79, and then it'll put it in orange for me. I know when it's on a phone, it doesn't do it the same way, but on a regular keyboard from a computer, you can just go at and just start to spell like GL, and it'll auto-populate, and you just click on it. That puts it in orange. But like I said, you guys are mainly talking to each other, which is cool. Pre-Healy band guns are definitely going up in price in Massachusetts. Check out Northeast Shooters Forum Marketplace. Yeah, that is a good place. I'd recommend that too. I'm familiar with them, even though I do not live in the Northeast. I'm very familiar with that forum marketplace there. Can I see your contractor AK? So one more thing, guys, I want to show you on the WASR. Again, this is kind of a regular off-the-shelf one, and then I'm going to get the contractor one out in 1 second. So you're going to notice one thing about the receiver, and this is the part that I don't really like too much about the WASRs. They don't quite look right, do they? Now, you've got an optics rail. That's a good thing. But we're missing the mag well dimples. So normally, an AK has what we call dimples, right? And again, I'm sorry, I don't want to bore you guys, but I've been told lately there's a lot of new guys that are kind of like, man, why don't you ever talk about the AK? I want to get my first one. And I'm like, man, I'm like a huge AK guy, but haven't done a lot of AK videos in the last few months. So for certain people out there, we always want more guys, getting into this stuff. Helps keep our rights alive. Helps, keep the demand to keep this stuff coming in the country. There's some good things about new people getting into this. So anyways, here's a magwell dimple. Okay. Now it's to strengthen the side of the receiver. They say it's also to cut down on the mag wobble. Now, I'm not trying to start controversy here. I think its primary focus and purpose is to strengthen this area of the receiver, okay? By making dimpled sheet metal stronger than just regular sheet metal. Same thing with dust covers. If you have a thinner AKM type dust cover, it always has these dimples in there and stamped gussets, right? Whereas your older style, like this milled receiver M64 Yugo, there's no stampings in it, but it's twice as thick. So this is going to add structural rigidity to this part of the receiver. Now, people also say it is to keep mag wobble, to keep the gun from, wobbling side to side. Sorry, I'm trying to get this mag in here off camera. Supposed to keep the side to side play, right? Now, the WASRs did it a little bit different. There's no mag dimples in your WASR. It has a slab-sided receiver. For the most part, almost every military AK always had the mag dimples. Now, there's some exceptions. Some of the made-for-military export Chinese, like Type 56 rifles, like your 56-1s, and I have a JRA rebuild of one right over here, had the slab-sided receivers with no dimples. So, again, everything with the AK, there's always a caveat. But for the most part, you're supposed to have your mag dimples. I think it looks kind of goofy, but they did weld in. Let's see if I can get the camera to pick it up here. They did weld in a couple plates right under here that are supposed to serve the same purpose. Okay, see the little plate welded in? So they welded in a little plate on both sides. That's supposed to add some rigidity to this area and also supposed to prevent the mag wobble. So, is that a deal breaker though? No. So to me, there's many reasons to own an AK, guys. First of all, for just utility, right? Freedom of your rights, freedom of country, freedom from a tyrannical government, to protect your place of business, your home, your family. That's probably the best reason to own, in my opinion. I'm not going to make you guys' morals up why you own guns or not. In fact, here's the deal. We're Americans. It's my firm belief that we have the right to keep and bear arms to protect against a tyrannical government, to protect our families, to protect our health, to protect our livelihoods, all of these things. And also, we have just as much of a right just to collect these guns and just to own them because we want stuff and we want to buy stuff. Just like we're allowed to buy, a Saturday old, 57 Chevy to cruise down the streets in. Do we need it? No. So there's different reasons to own a gun. So if you look at like, why do you need a gun? I would say, again, to protect your country, to protect your family, to protect your loved ones, to protect yourself. When I get to that point and I'm buying a rifle just as a simple tool, where my rifle is basically acting more like this hammer, I start to care less and less about what the finish looks like, you know, whether they sanded down the wood, whether it has the correct dimples or not. I just want it to work. I want it to be rugged, tough, the less frills as possible. Now look, guys, I have optics. I love optics. Optics are fine. I have a lot of different accessories, bells and whistles. But when it comes to like literally like it's me or you and it's time to, you know, get down and dirty, I kind of like my rifle to be pretty much simple. I mean, I always carry a flashlight with me. I know this is goofy, but again, during the daylight, is small, lightweight as possible. At night, I can really easily do this, guys. This is not that hard for me. This is always in my pocket. Is there good reasons to mount lights on your gun? Absolutely. I wouldn't knock you if you did, but this is how I have my rifle, looking exactly like this, just ready to go. So I'm not worried about mag dimples on this gun. Not worried about any of that. I just want the freaking thing to work, right? I don't want to have to worry about cleaning it every time I shoot it. So for that reason, that's why I love the WASR, guys. It's just they just work. They're made in a military factory, good components. I mean, I have a few of these WASRs. I was buying them when they were dirt cheap, and I was able to get more than one or two of them. And man, I've had a couple of these where I've shot them. I took one, let me tell you a quick story. I took one of them and I took off this sanded down wood handguards and just put on some true military surplus. So basically the same exact handguards, just with the I mean, I shot this until the lacquer started smoking, right? Which we've all done that, the insides. Well, then I started shooting it even more to the point where the lacquer started coming out of like the edges and insides of the wood, started to burn the crap out of my left hand. And it's kind of a messed up thing when you get liquid hot lacquer that melts and then sticks to your skin. It kind of like locks the heat in. Have you guys ever had that? Like a really hot liquid substance that hardens? So I've shot one of these before, literally to the point where I hurt myself with it. No problem. No problem. It'll still get out there relatively accurately. And I mean, like just with the iron sights, just kind of like I don't mean competition quick, but just rather quickly bring it up, get it lined up, bang, you know, that type of reaction time, you know, kind of like this speed, just click, dinner plate at 200 yards, just offhand. That's great. That's awesome. To me, that's plenty of accuracy if you're just using it as a self-defense tool. So, yeah, that's what I like about these. And those of you that follow the channel for a while and those of you that continue to, I'm going to keep showing more and more AKs. Trust me, I like the completely correct ones, the beautiful ones, the rare ones. I like all those too. But I don't want any of you guys to get caught up if you're just thinking about getting into an AK saying, well, all these guys in the AK forums and the places where the people just live and breathe these guns that are like, you have to get an arsenal or else. Well, here's the problem I have with that. You know, to say or else, that implies that this person has, let's just say $1,000 minimum. Shoot, there's arsenals that are now going for $2,500, depending what model you have. So that's a person that might just say, I'm going to pass. Because I don't have, you know, $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 to spend on a rifle. And in the end, I don't really think you're any better armed than an arsenal, which I own. I own those and I love them. Or a Legion of Jeffs, which I have right there in the other room. You're not any better armed, in my opinion, than with this WASR. And I guess some of the fact that I'm going to recommend an import over a domestic, because that's the other big question, is this. For so many years, and this is why I'm probably a little jaded. I'm going to admit this, guys. This is, you know, I try to give you guys facts when they're facts, and when it's my opinion, I'll tell you. So in full disclosure, there's going to be some fact and opinion coming up here. So I've been into these guns a long time. Brastard and I, we're the same age. He can tell you. We both got into these guns back in the day when the, you know, the Mac 90 was less than $300, etc., $200 even. Now, at that point in time, you could get a really good rifle that was completely factory built. And when I say factory, I mean a factory that fulfilled military contracts, from its proper country of origin. So you could get these guns for $200, guys. Nobody in their right mind was trying to make a completely start to finish, every last part, blah, 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 made in the USA back then. They just wouldn't do it, okay? So we had these old factory guns, and they were great. Now, it came to a point where they said, well, hold on. You know, we had the first George Bush, his ban on what he called assault weapons. That banned all the real ones, the ones that came in where basically everything was identical to it as what the current service issue was for that country, except for the semi-auto. Got rid of that. Then we started having to bring in, you know, kind of neutered guns. That's where the Mac 90s, some of the early Moddies, which those are ones that some of the Moddies are not so much. Now, some Moddies are awesome too if you're talking a Steyr Moddie pre-ban, but I digress. So you started getting into where they were kind of like aborted rifles a little bit, kind of like neutered, where they came in and it was like, abominations. You had to cut them up, put them back together. They had to come half finished, be finished here. And some of those rifles were okay, and that's where we started to have a few problems too. Fast forward. Century came up with the bright idea that they were going to start putting together some of their concoctions. They screwed up a lot of their kit builds when they first got going. Even go to modern day times. Look at that Visca rifle. If you guys have one and it works great, awesome. Awesome. I don't want to offend anyone here, but the Visca kind of became a laughingstock and a disaster as a whole, right? Again, there were probably a few good ones that slipped through the cracks, but in general, a lot of problems with those guns. PSA. Okay, here's the deal with PSA. When PSA started out, so just remember this, guys. I've been into the AK this whole time, okay? So I can't help but to be jaded a little bit because I've seen a lot of things. And the more you've seen and the more you've been screwed over and the more you've seen other people screwed over, it's kind of like the more scrutiny. And I can't help it, guys. I've just been around these guns too long. But when PSA first came out, so we could call up their Gen 1 now, right? Those guns had some issues, guys. They had some fitment issues, quality control issues, issues with not properly hardened receivers. They had some issues. Now, and hold on, guys, just so you know that I'm not making this up. And if you're a PSA fan, hey, hold off before you get mad at me because I'm heading somewhere with this. So let me go grab a first-gen PSA, guys. Okay, here's a first-gen PSA. Not even completely put together. I have a couple of these, by the way. There's another one in the other room and then more in my garage. But now, you're going to notice some USA-made parts, some surplus parts. So we have a surplus dust cover, not even finished. Still comes as issued. Okay? All right. As issued, battlefield pickup. They slapped that on top of a USA-made receiver. Just to show you guys, this is an original. They didn't even call them Gen 1s then. This is original. This is when PSA first got into making the AKs. This is the 3000s. Let's see here. 3072. So this is the 3072nd Palmetto State AK ever made. See that? There's no GB2 on here. There's no GF3. It's just Palmetto. No markings on the side of the receiver. Okay. No markings on the trunnion. Trunnions are completely unmarked. I mean, there's a PSA logo here, but you know how nowadays they're putting like a star on the trunnion or anyways, you know, cast trunnion. Now, when they were assembling the barrel components, somebody didn't quite line things up right. Dust cover's got substantial amount of room on it, and that's after I had to mess with it quite a bit. My other one that's back there won't even accept the dust cover at all. Like literally won't accept the dust cover. It just falls right off. These are not the best rifles, and don't just take my word for it, guys. This is documented. You know, so I've had some issues. Balsa wood handguards. Yeah, they've kind of got a pretty red stain on them, but you just look at this and it's gonna. Yeah. So I remember when these came out. Hey, I gave them a fair shake. Back to what I said earlier. I support American businesses. I bought a couple of these. I'm far less than impressed. Now, they got onto the, oh, what was it? The GB2, right? A lot of people have said those are great. I've got one that's new in the box. I've never really been excited to shoot it, but I did buy one of those too. Maybe one of these days I'll open it up. But so now we're on to like the GF3. Have they improved drastically from their early days? No doubt, guys. No doubt. They're forging a lot of the parts now. Their fit and finish is probably quite a bit better. You know, you can see here again, surplus part that they used at that time. Didn't put any finish on it. So you've got a brand new like nitride type coating on the barrel, but then you've got a mismatched gas tube. I mean, it's like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I've just been around a long time, and there's a lot of crap that's been put out by these USA AK makers. Are they finally figuring it out? Yeah, I think so in the last couple of years. I think they've come a long way. Not Century necessarily, but, you know, PSA. I have high hopes for them, and I think there's been quite a bit of documentation and stories, you know, that they're pretty decent rifles. But at the end of the day, and this is where it comes into where I guess I've just been around this too long. These guys right here, Romania, Cougar, they figured this out in the early 60s with help from Russia, tooling from Russia, who invented the platform, who invented the AK, right? So, yeah, when it really comes down to just having a tool for me, I'm going to go with kind of the tried and true. So, I don't know, not to bore you guys too much, but that's a little bit of a, you know, kind of reason why I'm going to usually choose an import, a foreign built gun over a USA made, just because, again, they're just tried and true. They just seem to work. Now, that's not to say there's never been a messed up, you know, foreign AK. Not at all. Of course there are. And a lot of them, too, you know, they were fine rifles the way they were built. Like the Mahdi factory in Egypt, yeah, they know how to build an AK. But the way they get brought over here, and Century, oh my gosh. You guys ever heard of the Mr. 90s, which was basically where they took a bunch of Mac 90 kits and built them on AKM Mahdi receivers, and you ended up with half Chinese and half AKM, which the Chinese is not an AKM at all. So, yeah, there's been some things that have happened here and there that have, like, big time tainted the reputation of some certain models. So I get it. Oh, let's see what I missed here. Let's see here. Oh, polishing the ammo. Well, there is something to that, actually. But I'm trying to scroll through the comments real quick here. Gun Squawk 44, how's it going? What's he talking about here? He says it shoots the brown bear, golden chicken, whatever it's called, and not just the tool ammo. Is it safe to polish ammo in a tumbler? I'm not a big ammo guy, but maybe one of the other guys answered your question on that. Tim 18 Wheels, how's it going, Tim? Good to see you, man. He says if a guy can forge an AK receiver out of a shovel and build a working gun, it can be done. There's a lot of issues when it comes to making AKs under mass production for a price point. 100%. And, you know, you can make the AK receiver from the shovel in theory, but, you know, the trunnions and stuff. See, that's what's interesting. In the United States, for some weird reason, our ATF and our government, they call the stamped sheet metal portion the receiver. In most countries, they don't consider that to be the firearm at all. The trunnion's the actual receiver and the gun. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the price point because, again, people don't want it to be $700 to get into an AK, and I don't want it to be either. But with current wages, you know, benefits, things like that, you know, all the government regulation, OSHA, ANSI, you know, all these different things that apply to factories, ISO, you know, certifications, it just costs too much. You can't build a $300 AK even if you tried, right? And Gun Squawk, yeah, the rifle is good looking as far as that goes. Just that it's kind of like that balsa wood. You'd have to feel it to know what I mean. It's like that real lightweight wood. Kind of not much different than the Century current WASRs. Oh, by the way, if you guys, like I said, are kind of new to this, thinking about getting your WASR, there's one caveat. Back in the day, they put the military laminate stock furniture on it, which is great, super heavy duty. Now, unfortunately, the WASRs come with like a new production balsa wood that Century puts on there. By most people's reviews, the furniture is completely junk. So I kind of plan on either buying an old set of surplus furniture. You can keep it, you know, ragtag and battlefield pickup looking if you want. You could sand it down and re-lacquer it, or you could buy a nice set of polymer furniture, whatever your taste is. But I plan on, if you're going to use it as a true tool, probably changing the furniture out on any of the new, you know, Century import WASRs, because they ran out of parts kits is what happens. If you buy a newer WASR, the trunnion is going to look more similar to like this trunnion on this Micro Draco. Okay, it's going to have some letters on here, some numbers. You know, that's the year. So this was made in 2018. You're not going to see that triangle on there anymore because these are not old military surplus builds anymore. They kind of ran out of those or decided to stop using those. And now we're getting completely new manufactured parts, but still made in the famous, you know, Romanian Cougar factory. So there you go. I almost forgot to mention that. The furniture's definitely taken a hit in the last few years with the Century. And that's not Romania's fault. That's what Century's choosing to pay for and to put on the rifles, you know. What's happening, the man you wish you were? He says, sorry, I'm late to AK school. And if you missed it and you think you're interested, go back and check it out tomorrow, the rest of it or whatever, you know. Let's see here. Metal mags. Just scanning through here, seeing what you guys are saying. Yeah, like Matt said, unfortunately, anything imported in new production expensive. I mean, it's all expensive compared to what it used to be, but what's a new Palmetto cost nowadays? Is it like $600 or am I a little high on that? These, I just checked them out at Atlantic. You might be able to find them cheaper somewhere else, but these are like $6.99 at Atlantic for a new production WASR right now. The AK hanging behind me. This is a Yugoslavian milled. Basically, what this is it's a very early, kind of like a prototype, but they're kind of like prototypes, but they made like a few thousand of them. In other words, these were never fully considered to be the, you know, main issue rifle, but we call these the M64s. So this is a, you know, an M64 Yugo milled AK. And what they would have called this in Yugoslavia at the time is simply AP, meaning automatic rifle. And yeah, this is a real early generation. Has a couple unique features on it. You know, unique to most of the Romanians is you've got the flip-up grenade launching sight and gas cutoff valve, right? We have a milled receiver that is a little bit closer to more of like a Type 2 than a Type 3 if you look at the extra milled cutouts, right? And the main thing that makes this rifle a lot different than most of the Yugos is usually on the Yugos, we have a bolt hold open follower in the magazine. So it's going to hold it open on the last round, but that's due to the mag follower, right? But what happens is as soon as you take the mag out, the bolt slams forward. This actually has a true bolt hold open device, which is something that, again, was used on the very early, what collectors here kind of call the M64s in Yugoslavia. There's an actual bolt hold open device in here. And there you go. And you have to use an M64 mag because there's a little cutout in the mag that's not normally there on an AKM that's going to engage that bolt hold open device. Now, you can use this on a regular AK, but you can't go vice versa. If you try to stick a regular AK mag without the cutout in here, you're either not going to be able to insert it or you could break your bolt hold open. So these have the true bolt hold open device. this is a re-weld, from the original receiver. You can see where it was re-welded in a couple spots. I talked about this quite a bit, I think, in the last stream. So if you're new to the channel, you might want to go back if you want to know more about this rifle. So yes, I'm going to grab the contractor one in 1 second, man. Sorry to keep you waiting so long. Matt Morrison said, did the new kit come in? No, not yet. I mailed it out. It went out in Monday's mail. I meant to get it out Saturday. Crap happened with work, so yeah. I've got a KS-47 pistol here. But, so basically, I know Cave Dave was talking in the comments earlier. He has one of these. There was a short period of time when you could buy a regular WASR like this here for about, I think they were going for about $450 at the time from Atlantic, right? Basically exactly like this. Now, they got in a very, very small batch, and I didn't realize till after it was kind of too late how small the batch really was and that they would never be coming back again. But basically, they got a small batch of these Iraq War contractor AKs. Now, in essence, what this says is a WASR. And it's actually quite literally a WASR. Now, when those were going for $450, they had a small batch of these that came in for $500. And here's basically the quick story on these. So we have, in current times of war, we have what's called civilian contractors. And they'll do many things like, anywhere from laundry to cooking food to actually being hired mercenaries to guards and things like that, right? So the little country of Uganda, right? They had, they basically had people that were willing to go over to Iraq to work with the Allies. Well, one of the U.S. contractors said, look, for these Ugandans that we're hiring to come over, and they were doing a lot of guard shack duty, guarding base entrances, patrolling perimeters of base during the Iraq wars, they basically called up Sentry, United States contracting firm, and they ordered a bunch of WASRs. For two reasons. A, like I've been saying this whole stream tonight, these are military-grade rifles made in the Kugere military factory, right? But they're semi-auto. And as you'll notice, a lot of countries, when they have kind of like hired help, more like, lesser experience, people that aren't part of the regular quote-unquote military or army in a lot of countries, they don't really like to give them machine guns because they take an extra level of training. Ammo could be wasted. More accidents could happen. You guys get the point, right? So they actually bought these rifles from Century Arms. These went over to Iraq. The Ugandans actually used these in the Iraq war in service, again, standing guard duty. Now, were these the frontline service weapon? Obviously not. But these guys were armed for a reason. Armed security, right? So whether this gun was or not, I have no way of knowing. This gun could have been involved in a firefight. This could have, fought and killed enemy combatants. It wasn't like in Iraq, like we never had anybody trying to do funny business and come through the front of a base with a bomb or motorcycles with backpacks. I mean, I'm not trying to be an expert. I never served, guys. But if any of you guys served over there, you probably know a lot more about it than me, obviously. So these guards, like I said, were armed for a reason. So there's a chance this gun, shot somebody in Iraq. It's possible. I can tell you for sure it was carried like a lot. You can see it kind of has a battlefield pickup look to it. All the high spots are worn on it. And I did a video like over a year ago when I first started my channel showing this gun versus a battlefield pickup modern kit build. It's got a number here, 108. This would be like its rack number, if you will, right? Looks like it was just written with like one of those big fat pointed Sharpie markers. So now what makes these kind of cool is this. I don't know about you guys, but I love, milsurps. I love the history behind them. I like all the provenance of it, that it saw, action in another country. I love it to death, right? I love my old 98 Mausers. You guys get the point. So, of course, I wanted an actual war-used AK. Well, we have problems with that, right? We have the Hughes Amendment, 86. No more machine guns. But in 1968, the Gun Control Act of 68 banned the importation of machine guns. So you couldn't even get an AK in its non-cut-up configuration, just full auto AK, as of 1968. So, yeah. So you can't get those. Even the Romanian G Rifles, if you guys are familiar with those are made again at the famous Cougar factory. They have a big G on there. Yeah, that's kind of like their militia, if you will, or their National Guard. Those were semi-auto from day one in Romania. And for some reason, the stupid-ass ATF does that once a machine gun, always a machine gun. And they cut the receiver up. Now, this thing was never a machine gun, guys, but they made them cut the receivers up and we could get the Romy G kits. Well, that wasn't until Obama banned quote-unquote machine gun barrels from coming in. So then the Romanian G kits had to have the barrel cut into 3 pieces and the receiver cut into 3 pieces. Now, this was never even a machine gun. So it's literally impossible to get an original, actual complete gun that served in a foreign war that came over here 100% the same as when it left, except for these. These are literally the only legal. Now, if you're a special occupational taxpayer, class 3, all that, that's going to be an exception. But for regular people, this is the only actual gun that I know of that you could, AK rather, not gun, AK obviously. This is the only AK type gun that you can own in the United States that's 100% the same as how it served. That 922R compliance I'm talking about was already done. These were the same exact WASRs. Like, I'm literally not joking, guys. This is the same exact WASR as this. Okay? And just like a retail customer like myself went in and bought this, well, the contracting company, SOC was their name, if I'm not mistaken, again, called up Century, ordered some of these. So this is already compliant to own in the U.S. Semi-auto. It was never built as a machine gun. Original barrel, all that. Already has these, Tapco G2 trigger, the Century grip, all the 922R was all ready to go. They went over to Iraq, saw battlefield use. So it is completely proper to say that this is an actual Iraq war used gun. And tell me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think this is the only legal war-used AK in its exact configuration that was never cut up or re-welded or any of that you can have. So that makes these pretty cool. Now, is this as cool as if I could have had like an original, Azovsk Russian the day it was picked up off the battlefield? Of course not. But it's kind of such a white elephant to even have any AK that served overseas in any capacity. Yeah. So, yeah, here it is. Got this from Atlantic. Again, it was about $50 more than the price of just a regular WASR at the time. You can still see, I purposely not cleaned this up. You might be able to see. In my other video where I took pictures with the actual camera, you guys might want to go back and watch that. You see that brown in there? This still has the original brown, like desert type dust in some of the crevices around the lines where the wood meets the metal and stuff. But yeah, this clearly has the look that it was just, carried like crazy. That fine, like, really, really fine powdery sand kind of here and there in it still. Pretty cool. But other than that, yeah, it's just a regular WASR. It just happens to be that the ATF has gotten so arbitrary and capricious, and they've made so many rulings upon rulings upon rulings that have never been actually even voted on by any elected anybody, okay? That it's literally like virtually impossible to get anything, anything AK-wise that's a true, war used, and it sucks. Because like I said, the Romanian Gs were signed, and there's no law that says that if a barrel was ever on a machine gun, that the barrel in and of itself becomes a machine gun and it has to be cut up. The law doesn't say that, guys. That's the ATF just, again, arbitrarily just making, law by fiat. Because it's not a law, and I never want to give it the credit and call it a law. But they can ransack your house the same as if you broke the law. They can detain you. They can arrest you. They can throw you in a hole with bars. They can put you on bread and water. They can make you liquidate your whole life savings to hire lawyers. And if you're lucky, plea bargain. If not, spend years in prison by violating one of these arbitrary type rules. So In the end, is it a law? No, I won't give it that much credit, but it is a law at the same time. So, like Mateo said, shoot your dog. There you go. So, yeah, the Romanian G, again, Guardia, you know, basically it was like their civil guard. You know, like your old Finnish Mosins, how they would say sky on them? It's the same type of thing, right? But in Romania. Yeah, ATF, always treasonous, Mateo said. Yep. Yeah, Matt, you kind of said it a little better than me. It's the possibility of history tied to a piece that's interesting. Yep. And Cave Dave said, my WASR was filthy. Mine was too, dude, but just me kind of handling it and taking it in and out of the case, it's kind of cleaned itself up a little bit, which kind of bummed me out. I kind of liked all the old Iraqi dirt and sand on there, like the day I got it. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunately accidentally cleaned itself up quite a bit. Yeah, I'm not nostalgic, guys, with my milsurps. If I could have the original Iraqi dust on there, that's the way I'd prefer it. Make fun of me if you want. It's fine. I totally get it. Oh, no problem, M4 Johnny. Glad to have you here, man. No problem at all. That's the other guys. I'm a sucker for if someone says, "Do you have one of these, or do you want to talk about that?" If I have it here, I'll get it and I'll talk your ear off about it. And if I don't have it with me, I've been known to bring it back with me, you know, the next week. Because I keep some guns around here, but this is my shop. I'm not at my house where, you know, I keep some of my other guns and keep some other ones in a completely separate undisclosed location. Because you never want to keep all your, you know, eggs in one basket. Okay, Cave Dave's is number 55. I don't know what the official count is. Do you know, Dave? I know it's a limited number, but I don't know if it was ever released or made public how many of these actually went over there. If I'm guessing it's in the low hundreds, like I'd be surprised if there was more than 200. I guess maybe this could kind of sort of be proof. Maybe there was 108, but maybe not either, right? Maybe because there were some DPMS AR-15s that were purchased, if you guys remember. Maybe you guys have heard of this, by the same contractor. And some of them were DPMS ARs and some were WASR AKs. And it was the same thing with the ARs. They were just semi-auto right off the shelf. So when this is number 108, did that mean it was the 108th WASR that was in that, you know, contracting group, or was it the 108th gun? So maybe there was 50 WASRs and 58 DPMS ARs. I wouldn't know for sure. Maybe one of you guys know how many of these actually went over there and made their way back. I'm assuming a few of them might have got lost or damaged. That usually always happens. I don't really know of many militaries that ever come back with exactly the same amount of guns they left with. And for a variety of reasons, but we'll say assuming everything's on the up and up, just some wear and tear or loss or casualty or whatever, you know. Okay, you guys are talking about some gunsmithing type stuff, which is cool. Okay, I have another Romanian rifle here. If you guys have any more questions for me, think about it. I'm gonna take just a quick 5-minute break to get a drink. I knocked off my drink from earlier, so I'm gonna go back out to the cooler and grab one of my famous iced teas, which is better than Diet Coke. But remember earlier I said I knocked something off the table? Yeah, I'm down to just, yeah. All right, I'll be right back, guys. I'm thirsty. All right, I'm back. Is anyone still here? Yeah, there's still 19 people here. Cool. If anyone's been in here tonight listening, or if you said hi to me at any point, I didn't mean to ignore you. So come back in and say hi, just so I know that you're here. I would never intentionally want to miss anybody at all. Another quick thing, too, I was thinking about. You know, a fellow gun tuber that, you know, I'm buddies with, and a lot of you guys probably know and like, Michael Science, right? He's a really cool dude. His heart's in the right place. He's done a lot to fight for gun rights in the state of Illinois. And he put out a video. I'm not telling you guys anything personal. Go to his channel. I gave him a shout out, by the way, on the community post a couple weeks ago. And hopefully, you know, you guys that went over there like his channel. But, man, he's going through a rough time right now, guys. He's been dealt a really, really crappy hand. I think he's trying to play the cards he's got the best he can. But, man, his life sucks right now. So if you guys are friends with Michael, go over there and, you know, whatever you want to do, try to lift him up, offer support. Like I said, the dude's holding deuces right now, you know. So if you're watching this later or listening, Michael, God bless you, man. I hope everything works out okay as soon as it can. I know life's going to get better for you, man. Hopefully as soon as possible. But I feel bad for you, man. But you're a strong dude. You'll make it through, and it'll get better, man. Trust me, it will. As bad as life gets, and like I said, you're down to deuces, man. But it'll get better for you. So I just wanted to offer you some encouragement, Michael, and you're a great dude, and the Second Amendment needs you, and a lot of people on here like you. So it's Michael Science, Texas Outlaw. He changed his name to in the last couple weeks. If you go over to my community post, you'll see the little shout out I gave to him under I know if you go to my channel on the computer, it's under community. But yeah. He's a good dude, and like I said, it sucks, but you'll be all right, man. You will. Just stay strong. Ryan Fixer, how's it going, man? I remember rumors of sharks that can live in freshwater and coming up some distance up the Mississippi. I've heard that too. And actually, you know, I live like near Lake Erie. There's been a couple sharks found in Lake Erie before, which is totally fresh water. So, like, how do they get in there? I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, the Texas Outlaw. You, a lot of you guys know him. A lot of you guys probably know him better than me. But, you know, if you guys are praying people, spiritual, you know, give him your prayers, man. The man needs a little uplifting right now. Man, bull sharks, you guys are going to scare me to go swimming now. Where is Troll 2201? Is he here? Oh, you found some Set Me Sea barrels. Well, I wouldn't. I have a few of those kits too. So thank you, Bastard. I won't buy all of them, but I do have 2 kits that could definitely use a barrel. Are these original barrels or like a new production? So I know Troll was looking for them, like you're saying, but yeah, I wouldn't mind getting one myself. Hey, what's up, John? How's it going, man? Michigan's Upper Peninsula. I'm down in Michigan's Lower Peninsula. So nice to have another Michigan guy here. I know there's some Michigan guys hanging out in here from time to time. But the UP, shoot, for those of you guys that aren't familiar with Michigan, to get from southeastern Michigan, where I'm at, up to, like, you know, you got Michigan, right? This is the UP. So to get from down here, okay, all the way up to here, you can literally drive from my house to Florida in the same time it would take to get to the northwesternmost part of the UP. It's just crazy how it works. I mean, we're the same state, no doubt, but we're almost like 2 different states if you really think about it. I think John knows what I mean. And yeah, the UP is pretty nice. I'm kind of jealous of you, to be honest. Nice place up there for sure. Yeah, Michigan is big, and it doesn't look that big on a map, but it's weird the way it actually works because we have, you know, the Straits of Mackinac, and yeah, when you live in Michigan, it's just a thing, guys. You hold up your hand, right? And then you take your other hand and you go like this. Well, the thumb and middle finger here don't quite touch, so you have to go across the Big Mackinac Bridge, then you got to get up through here, and then you can keep going north and west, and that's what makes it where it's so, yeah. Nothing like Texas or anything, but you can drive 18 hours easy in the state of Michigan. if not over 20 hours, depending on how fast you're going and depending on the bridge and this and that. That bridge can be a nightmare depending on the time of day. And if the winds are high enough, sometimes they have to close it down. If the snow is bad enough, you know, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Just going to scan through the comments here. I don't plan on staying on too much later. I know it's late, guys. It's past midnight here. Sorry I'm starting so late. I'll be getting on a more decent schedule once summer slows down. This is just kind of when I have to make my money. I definitely have more time for more videos and you know, doing my live streams a couple hours earlier in the winter time. Which if you guys go back and look at my channel, I was putting out 5 videos a week in the winter, and I plan on doing that again coming up here. It's just in the summer, it's pretty tough. Yeah, Michigan hits Canada in a bunch of spots, explicit. Where I'm at, yeah, where I'm sitting right now, I could be passing the, you know, from Detroit to Windsor, you know, that Canadian, that bridge there, the Ambassador Bridge, I could be there in 45 minutes. I could be in Canada. Couldn't carry any of these guns I have across with me there. That's why I don't have a lot of use. I mean, you can take guns over there to a point to, you know, for hunting trips and all that, but I can't just keep my concealed carry on me and cross the bridge. So I kind of don't really like to go places where I can't carry a gun, to be honest. And if I can't carry it, no one needs to know whether I am or not. Problem is when you're crossing an international boundary and bridge, yeah, there's really no way you're going to get a gun through there, and I wouldn't even try. So sucks to be them, but Windsor doesn't really get much of my money just because I don't really care for being unarmed, to be quite blunt about it. They'll accept brass shells at scrapyards here where I'm at. If you bring in a ton of them, they've been known to ask questions. I've known people who have brought in, like, you know, hundreds of pounds of range brass, and they, like, the scrapyard, like, called the sheriff, and the sheriff had to, like, ask them why they had it, like some weird awkward thing. But you are allowed to scrap brass here. The scrapyard's near me. I know people that do it, but that's probably, some states may have laws against it, and then each individual scrapyard is entitled, you know, it's their prerogative to have whatever kind of company policy they want. To me, it's just a commodity, so I don't know why they care. But Brass Tar brings up a point. Too many people took in Army stuff that blew up. Okay. I didn't think of it that way. But yeah, we don't have any problems with bringing in brass here. So sorry I didn't get a video out last week, guys. I just really had to work hard this week. I've had so much crappy weather, and those of you that follow me on a regular basis, you know that I had such crappy weather. The spring started so late. It rained and rained and rained like every day for a month and a half. So now I just have to keep working to make up for lost time, because I made like no money for the first month and a half this spring. I mean, a little bit of money here and there, but it was more chasing my tail. So I'm just working like crazy right now. But I'll promise you guys again, and if I lie, I'm sorry, but I'll have at least one video out from now till next week. I love making videos. I love doing these live streams. It's just when I start early in the morning and work all the way till dark and have to do it for 7 days straight, 14 days, 21 days, just because, again, the weather's good right now, I kind of have to prioritize that. And by the way, I really appreciate it. You know, last week alone, a couple more guys signed up to be Patreon supporters of my channel, and I really appreciate it, guys. You guys know who you are. Part of me wants to shout you guys out because I want to give you the recognition, but it's kind of your privacy too, so I don't know. So I'll just say you guys know who you are, but I really do appreciate it. And I might not have the high production of a lot of channels, but I do spend money on the channel. And a lot of the stuff I do is stuff I want to do, and I share guns I already have and whatnot. But I do actually, you know, have a little bit of equipment here that costs me money. And I do sometimes buy guns actually for the channel. And you guys can ask Mateo, who's in the comments. He's actually, you know, a good friend of mine who I talk to on the phone. And I have a gun coming right now that I ordered that's for the channel, that I probably wouldn't have normally bought necessarily, but people have been asking about it for a couple months, so I don't want to give it away, but there'll be a video out as soon as it gets to my local FFL of a new little handgun, a budget economy type handgun, which a lot of people have a lot of interest in. And I basically bought it for the channel. So I do appreciate you guys helping out. And if any of you guys out there have a little extra money and want to help me out on Patreon, I do appreciate it. I'm not begging you, but I really do try. Like I said, this is a very small channel, and I don't have a lot of extra money to spend on it, but I do try to buy things, keeping you all into account to try to do, pretty good content. So you could listen to this guy talk AKs all day. Oh, I can talk AKs all day, man. I'm actually thinking about one of these days just saying screw it and bringing like 40 or 50 AKs in here and just talking about AKs for like 8 hours. Maybe once the weather cools off. Because I'm not good at a lot of things, but I have learned how to talk for a long time. I know how to talk. Yeah, I'll just stop right there. Oh, what's the difference between the WASR 10 and the 1063? That's not a bad question, Foley. So here's the thing. A lot of it's mainly just in a name, okay? But what you'll find is, this is a GP WASR 1063, for example. You'll find as the WASRs were imported, they've changed their names. So the WASR 10, where that originally comes from, is this. Let me back up. I'll finish telling you guys a little bit of a WASR story. So first of all, what this is this is a clone, if you will. Sans the magazine, dimples, and a few other little things. This is a clone of what Romania calls their PM Model 63. So this was their frontline service rifle for decades. Started in 1963. It's an AKM, very similar to the Russian, in which was basically dictated to all the CON-bloc countries at that point. You'll have some kind of AK for the most part. Yeah, Czechoslovakia was always a little different, but you guys know what I'm saying. So in 1963, Romania started the AK called the PM63. So that's where we get the 63. Now, 1063, what that means is for this to be imported under international treaties, international gun control laws, and even the name WASR itself, which I'll get to, these had to be brought in kind of in a neutered state. So when they're brought into the country, they have a single stack that's only capable of accepting one of those really skinny 10-round magazines. So to keep it from being called, and it pains me to say this one more time, to keep it from being considered an assault rifle or assault weapon, which the first George Bush, banned those, they can't come in accepting the full double stack mag. So 10-round capacity. Now, what does WASR stand for? WASR is an acronym, and basically it comes from the 1996 WASR arrangement. Okay, so WASR arrangement, semi-automatic rifle. That's what spells WASR. It's an acronym. And basically what the WASR arrangement was, it was a multilateral export, like gun control thing that was set up through different countries. So specifically, it was called the Multilateral Export Control Regime, MECR. And its purpose was to monitor and limit the proliferation of certain conventional weapons and dual-use technologies. And I'm reading that right here from a source. So that's what WASR stands for. WASR arrangement semi-automatic rifle. 10 meant the 10-round single-stack magazine. And 63 was basically tying into this lineage that this did evolve from a Romanian PM Model 63. Now, you have this 1063s. You also have the WASR 10s back in the day. And you also, now it's back to the WASR 10 again. Now, some of the differences is this. Some of the WASRs that you would see would come in did not have a bayonet lug. Some of them do. Some of them came with a threaded barrel, just like this, with a sugar scoop, right? Where you could freely take the muzzle device on and off. Other ones came with a muzzle nut that was tack welded on. And for the longest time, it seemed that the 1063s were the ones that had, the removable sugar scoop instead of the tack welded muzzle nut and had the bayonet lugs. But then it seems like they went to the WASR 10 and more present day tents, right? So the new ones that you get now are called WASR 10s. And those also have the bayonet lugs, and the removable muzzle brake. So I don't know. I'm not trying to confuse you worse, but that's a little history of where the name came from. I've seen a little inconsistency back and forth, though, between a WASR 10 versus a WASR 1063. But yeah, they're called WASR 10s now. I wouldn't get caught up in the name being as much of a difference as this. The new ones have the crappy furniture on them, which that's pretty much what I'm going to say, crappy. Now, the other part is they have modern production parts. So they're no longer, if you're into history and provenance and want something that was built from a parts kit from an actual military issued rifle, you're probably going to want to go back and get one of these older ones, because these do have original, this has a 1970 date. I've seen them dated from the early 60s. 63 was the first year. The oldest WASR I have is a 64, all the way up to the early 80s. Like the newest I could remember seeing was like an 81. At least the ones that I've had my hands on. Anywhere in between, possibly a little newer than that too. So the new ones, they're still made on the same tooling, still made in the same factory as these were, but now they're going to have, like I showed you on the Micro Draco, they're going to have kind of just like more like a regular plain font without the little logo, the factory, Arsenal emblem. And they're going to just basically have like the year on there. So if you want your rifle to be closer to being a milsurp, probably go back and get one of these. Either new or used on the secondary market, new, old stock, whatever. But if you're just worried about it being a tool for function, like I said, life, liberty, freedom, protection, whatever, the new ones tend to be fine. They tend to be really good rifles. Quality control tends to be back up pretty high again nowadays. But the wood sucks on the new ones. I can't say that again. It really, really does. And other channels that do like some more torture testing, you'll see. You can see what's happened to the wood. And a lot of you guys probably know exactly what I'm talking about too. So let's see here. It looks like Explicit took off, huh? All right, man. Good night. If I didn't miss you already, have a good one, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Glad you could be here, Cave Dave. This was the perfect weekend for you to stay up late, because you're about the only person that I know. I know there's other ones out there, but you're probably the only one I know the best that actually has one of these contractor ones. So that's cool listening to you talking about yours too. Because I know they're kind of uncommon. I don't know how much. And Matt was basically probably typing that in, right, before I said it. The WASR arrangement, semi-automatic rifle. Basically international gun control crap, wanting to regulate, like we can't let these weapons become prolific. Yeah. The man you wish you were. Why does the Iraq WASR have its muzzle brake cut in an angle? Well, this is what's called a slant break, and people call it a sugar scoop. This is probably the most common type of brake for military issue. Almost all military AKs had either this. So basically what happens is you can see the way the gas is going to leave out of the barrel, right? And it's going to come out this way. So instead of having the rifle rise up and to the right, it's going to kind of counteract it and kind of push it down and back to the left again. Now, will the muzzle still rise with this on? Under rapid fire, especially machine gun rates? Absolutely. However, it's going to direct, so equal and opposite forces, right? As gas is getting veered off to the right, it's going to kind of try to push the muzzle back down. That's one of the purposes it serves. Directs a little bit of the blast off away. Now, this is not a flash hider. This doesn't have flash at all. This is an actual muzzle brake. In a very simple form, somewhat effective. I mean, this really isn't a bad design. Are there newer, more modern versions of a muzzle brake that can control recoil and muzzle rise more? Yes, absolutely. Yes. But for how simple these are, they work. I mean, look how loose this is on here. Look at that. But this is fine, though. And this is some of the things somebody might not like, but I could care less. I think it's cool. Whatever, right? And again, this is the contractor rifle. I would note on my regular old one that didn't go over to Iraq, tight as a drum. I mean, teeny bit of wiggle, of course, because there's a little detent with a spring-loaded plunger that stops this, and there's a couple notches cut, right? So this one's much, much tighter. But yeah, this is to keep the muzzle rise, to keep the gun on plane, if you will, right? When you're trying to shoot as accurately as possible, mainly in full auto. Also semi-auto. Now, I'll note, too, that I said most of my AKs have the slant breaks. I'm kind of a history buff if you guys haven't noticed, but then I repeat myself. I like them to look accurate. And even this gun, again, I told you I don't care how it looks, but just from a utilitarian standpoint, just freaking works. There's nothing wrong with the slant break. Now, the older way of doing it, for your AK, 47s, if you will, your milled types, you're pretty much always going to see the muzzle nut, which basically means this: no muzzle device at all. Thread protector. This was just here to serve a purpose of protecting the threads so that they could then install what's called a grenade launching spigot, right? You would unscrew your muzzle nut, reverse thread, so you tighten it on to remove it, and put this long thing on here called a spigot. I can bring one in sometime if you guys are interested. Flip up the grenade launching sights, turn off the gas, load some blanks up, and you fire rifles off the end. So basically thread protector. Have I told you guys how much I love this gun yet? That's why I leave it back there, just so you know, because there's always someone a little newer to the channel that's like, hey man, what's that? And you veterans that have been here since the beginning, you're like, come on, Glock, you showed this gun like in 50% of your streams. Well, yeah, but there's always a new guy that wants to know about it, and I'm always wanting to explain it, and I'm always wanting to, cycle it a couple times. So, yeah, there's a little strategy to why this sits back there. Because if I just on my own every week was like, okay, guys, we're going to have another, let's go over this Model 64 again, that'd be pretty lame. But when a new guy comes in and wants to see it, you can't blame me. Blame the new guy. No, don't blame the new guys. Welcome the new guys. Blame Brastard762 is who I want you guys to blame for all your problems right now. Because you know why? He still hasn't done my pound video yet, have you? Now, if you put it today, I haven't had a chance to check YouTube today or last night, then I'm going to look like a liar. But if I was a betting man, I think Brastard's still standing me up on that pound video. So direct any hate mail to the Glock Shooter 79 channel to Brastard. And if it rains tomorrow, no matter where you're at, that's his fault too. So Matt Morrison says it's all good. Poor conservative, how's it going, man? Nice to see you. There's another Michigan guy in the house. We got a Youper in here. I don't know if he's still here or not. Limbert Johnson, what's happening, man? Born in 64. So you guys wanted to know about a 64 dated rifle or the model 1964, which is their RPK? Ooh, you got me, Brastard. You know what? I've got like a very, very early Sino-Soviet staged and ready to go. So, all right. You got me. All right, hold off, guys. One more week. Cut Brastard slack for one more week because he did get me on that one. I have a, let's see here, RPKs. I've got a couple Yugo RPKs here. I have part of a, I'll show you guys real quick. I have a 1964 Romanian. Here's part of an AES 10B, which is basically a semi-auto clone of a PM 64, which is the, that's the military name for the Romanian RPK. Now you'll notice there's no bump stock on here. Okay, not saying there ever was, but if I were to show a bump stock on here, that'd be a felony. So since I'm not a felon, there is none. But yeah, there's no stock on here. This may or may not at one time have had one on there. So right now I need to put the original club foot stock on here. But yeah, I also need to put the bipod on here. I have the correct bipod for it. This was one of those that at the very end when they stopped bringing in the AES 10Bs. Now I know there's a new one that's out now, but the original ones, right, that were all made on military stuff, same thing. Original military sanded down furniture. These are kind of like the WASR, but the RPK version. They clearanced out the very last few they had in stock that didn't have the bipods. I have the correct bipod on the other room I'm going to put on here. And then I have the original, you know, sanded down stock that came with it. But yeah, this is a, you know, United States import legal, but still a Romanian factory gun. So these are pretty close to being legit. These are probably about as close to being a real deal Romanian RPK as you can get. They have original, you know, bulge trunnion, heavy receivers that are also made in the Cougar factory in Romania. You can see that same roll mark there, the Rome Arm Cougar Romania, imported by Century. Most of the parts are all Romanian cold hammer forged chrome line barrel, built off of a parts kit. This particular one was made in 1980. Now again, they've got the new AES 10Bs out, and those are cool too, but those aren't going to be built off the original parts kit. So there's just a lot of parallels between your older WASRs and your older AES 10Bs versus your new ones. I mean, this gun's functional the way it is right now. You could shoot it. It probably wouldn't be very comfortable. You'd have to hold it, you know, like a mare's leg, I guess you call it. You could do the old mare's leg grip, or you could, no, you couldn't do that. That would hurt. You'd have to shoot it. I mean, it's doable. But yeah, this used to be a pretty bad rig, but yeah. Remember I was saying something about arbitrary and capricious laws that aren't really laws but hold the force of law? Yeah, this is a perfect example of what, you know, you have to use your imagination, what used to be between the gun and my hand. And I'm not saying whether I ever had one or not, but if I did ever have one, I wouldn't be, you know, having it on camera now, unfortunately. Still pretty pissed off about the bump stock, guys. I did a lot of videos about it. I don't know if you guys remember, pretty passionate about it, and I still am. Still haven't forgotten that. I'm not happy. Not happy at all. How's it going, John Clausen? Man, bastard, hopefully. I know you've been struggling a long time, man. Have you tried cutting out any kind of bread and carbs, by the way? I knew someone with, you know, a bunch of autoimmune problems. They went on a completely strict keto diet, and they're literally like started improving within weeks, and they're feeling tenfold better. Look, dude, I'm not diagnosing you. I have no idea, but you said immune system, and, you know, look into it if you haven't. I'm sure you have already, but I know someone in real life that's like a whole new person, and they were just in their, you know, mid 40s, late 40s, and was having so many problems. Their immune system was attacking their whole body, and they went to zero carbs, like a completely, you know, strict, legit keto diet, and they like feel like they're in their 20s again. So again, not to talk down to you, you probably know more about keto than I do, but you might want to check it out, man. I know there's a lot to do with wheat and in some people's bodies and carbs that can make their immune system turn on them. But, you know, I wish the best for you, man. Yeah, that would leave a good bruise. But, yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I was trying to be honest. I said I can show you about half of a 1964 RPK. Poor conservative. By the way, the best I can think is I'm going to probably take 2 sheets of paper, tape them together, put the kukri out there, draw some lines that show and write down the measurements and take a picture of it. I know this sounds stupid, but I'm not very good at actually like measuring a weird shaped knife. I don't know. Yeah, man, I've been so busy working, I haven't even had time to really talk to anybody this week. It sucks. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Yeah, Matt Morris is talking about gluten. I know that has a lot to do with. Look into keto diet, bastard. I know it sucks, but I know potatoes, you know, those are going to have to go. The beans, the tortilla chips, but maybe try like a super, super strict keto diet for even a month or two. And even if you hate all the crap that that's involved in it, if it helps with your autoimmune, it might be worth it, man. I'd think about it if I were you, So, and I'm sure you're eating really healthy. You probably, more physically fit looking than me. I totally get it. But I know there's something about that keto diet that really, really can help some people with autoimmune diseases. And again, I'm not a doctor, dude. I don't know anything. So please don't. Everything I'm saying is just with the best intentions to try to be helpful. I didn't know anything about, what carbs did. I always subscribe to the whole theory that, fat is what makes you fat. And then you buy this low-fat salad dressing, and it has like 10 times the sugar in it to like compensate for the fat. And then, here and there, different people telling me things, and especially and mainly my wife, I'm learning more and more that it's carbs that make you fat and sugar makes you fat, not actually fat. It's kind of crazy. So I'm always learning stuff myself. I'm still losing a few more pounds, guys. I'm still, pretty fat, obviously, but I've been really trying to eat good. And, maybe I can go back and look at these videos later. The gut's getting just a little bit smaller. I mean, it's not. Look, I'm fat, guys. I get that. But now I'm up to, depends when I weigh myself here. I haven't weighed myself yet today, but I'm getting closer to 40 pounds that I've dropped since the end of April. So it's something I'm kind of proud of. So, yeah. All right, guys, is there anything I missed? Man, there's a couple more AKs I wanted to show, but it's 12:30, and, man, I could talk about these AKs for hours. So, let me know what you guys look forward to seeing. You want to talk AKs again next week? I have a couple things coming in that hopefully will be in time to do a video on or have a next week's stream, like that milled parts kit, the Yugo one that I was showing you guys last week. I returned it. I'm waiting to get the new one back. Hopefully that arrives from now till then. I got an old antique rifle you guys might find interesting that I was thinking about bringing in to talk about, antiques. If you guys are in any of that. And there is a new pistol that I got, especially, like I said, I mean, for me, but also for the channel, because it's something that, I've done, quite a few reviews on a similar pistol, and this one just keeps coming up, like, to the tune of, like, hundreds of people asking me about it. So I got a new little budget pistol for the channel. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, poor conservative. I appreciate you, man. I am literally just doing what I can. It's been crazy right now. And it's not like I'm working so much that I'm rich. No, I'm just trying to, like, fill in the hole that was dug for me by being such a crappy start of the year, Thanks, Foley. I appreciate it, man. And that's the cool thing about these streams, if I'm talking too long, you can come in, come out, do whatever, tell your friends not to come, tell them to come, whatever. And that's the thing with the channel. I do buy stuff for the channel, but it has to be stuff I'm interested in. Basically, I don't know. Some of my videos I put out, obviously everyone's not into it. I was really into my Czech Mauser. I'll give you guys a real quick example, okay? Not my most popular videos, but the guys that left the comments, I could tell you guys liked it and you were into it. But this is, I like this kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed doing these videos on this Czech-made Romanian contract Mauser. I love AKs, obviously. If I only wanted to see how many views I could get, yeah, there's probably a ton of other guns. But here's the thing. I'm doing this for fun. And I believe that if I ever stop having fun and if I'm just doing this stuff to try to achieve something, it's going to be for all the wrong reasons and you guys will hate watching. So basically, I kind of do what I want to do on here. But I always look for suggestions. And if it's something where you guys give me a suggestion and it's something I want to do, then that's the perfect scenario. So I know it kind of sounds contradictory, but basically, as long as I still think this channel is fun, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do what I want to do. And if I'm having fun doing it, it'll show. If I'm forcing myself to do something because somebody's like, you can just feel it, some of these channels. And you guys know what I mean, where they're just like not a milsurp guy, but someone gave him an SKS, Classic gave him an SKS and forces them, to do the review for thousands of dollars, you can just see how much they're struggling through it and they hate it. So, yeah, I kind of want to just keep doing what I want to do. But at the same time, I want you guys' suggestions, because if it's something where I'm like, you know what, I'm thinking about, here's a perfect example. I think I'd have fun talking about a couple more Mausers soon. Okay, I like that. But you know what else I think would be fun? I think it'd be fun, and I kind of have them staged here, so I'm not joking when I say this, but what if we wanted to talk about some 32 pistols? Like, you know, like Hungarian PPK clone or another Hungarian PPK clone, or maybe a, you know, Astra 850. These are staged here for a reason, you know. These are guns I'm kind of thinking about. How about another FEG PPK clone? Like, so much that they even almost forged the Walther banner. You know, a 32 Walther from World War I era. How about the CZ50? How about the CZ70? So you guys know what I'm saying. I do like to know what you guys are into. But at the same time, ultimately, it's got to be something I'm interested in, or I'm just not going to have the enthusiasm to do the video. I know a lot of this stuff isn't popular. Like, is there anybody that cares about, you know, various 32s, military issue, police issue, Hungarian, German, you know, I don't know. Sounds fun to me, but good night, Foley. I'm getting ready to head out myself too. The man you wish you were. Luckily for you, I do love pistols, so everything is a lie. How's it going? You want to get your first AK? Well, I actually started off this stream kind of talking about, like, to the little bit newer guy into the AK. So if you're just joining us, you might want to go back and watch it from the beginning, because literally a lot of this stream I was doing for a guy maybe like you, you know? Oh, Dave says, Cave Dave says, I've been on the keto diet for the last 2 years. I'm stronger than I've ever been and the healthiest I've ever been. And do you notice too that, like, when I was eating a bunch of carbs, like after every couple hours I'd have to eat, or I'd feel like I was getting dizzy, or like I wanted to black out and I had to shove something. Now that I'm not completely strict keto diet, but pretty close, okay, I can just like sustain. Like, I don't even usually care about breakfast, and it's not till like late in the afternoon that I really even feel like eating. And I don't mean that like I'm starving myself. I mean like it's a steady, continuous energy, rather than like a surge of energy and then you fall down and feel like you're going to pass out, then another surge. It gets rid of that whole, like, you know, spike, and I just kind of like feel like this all day, just like chugging along, you know. Matt Morrison, am I into pistols? Yeah, I'm definitely into pistols. And yeah, I mean, just Hungarian stuff, you know. I've got some Hungarian stuff around here. Like I showed you a couple more over there. You know, Hungarian P9R sitting here. Another Hungarian P9R. This is a Mauser Model 90DA, so-called. Okay, Mauser. But what it actually is a Hungarian P9R that was sold to Germany and had their roll mark on it. Hungarian high power. As you guys know, I like the Star pistols. Here's a Star Model 28DA. I've showed these before. Star Model BM. Yeah, I'm into... You'll notice the pattern. Most of this stuff's all Milsurp stuff. That's really my true passion. Although I like modern guns too. And the new gun I got for the channel is a modern gun, by the way, guys. But yeah. Yeah, I like pistols. I kind of had a bunch of Hungarian stuff congregated here because I've been meaning to do some videos on them. And I know this is stupid, but like these are basically the same gun, right? Just the one has the anodized aluminum frame. The other has the raw aluminum. Some teeny differences in some of the front sight, but yeah, these are basically the same gun. And then I've also got this in the 9mm Makarov. So I don't know. Yeah, I think some more pistol videos are in order. Yes, Bastard's right. It was another flash sale. So remember couple weeks ago I said, hey guys, Classic has the M70 for $169. Well, then I lied and they didn't. Well, it was a flash sale. Well, Classic had another flash sale and I think they extended it another day. So head over there. They do have the M70s, Estavas, which if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go back to, I believe it was 2 streams ago. I talked quite a bit about those. So yeah. Ninja Scout found a nice one for $239. Now that's a good deal if it's got the holster and the 2 mags and the whole kit. That's not bad. If you just want the gun with 1 pistol, though, I believe it is still $169 right now. You're gonna have FFL fee and shipping too, though, Ninja. So keep all that in mind. Drive anything in 40? Yeah, kind of. I've got this rig right here, which is a Glock 22. Okay. Gen 2. I've talked about this in past videos. This gun was originally chambered in, 40 Smith & Wesson. Currently, as we speak right now, I'm running a 357 SIG barrel in it. I've got a 9mm conversion barrel and the 40. So, I guess this is kind of a 40, but at the moment, it's a 357 SIG. Not a huge 40 guy, but I've got a couple. Don't know if he's still in here, but Mateo's the big 40 guy. Well, I'm sure several people are. Yeah, he's still in here. There he is. But yeah. Wow. I say Mateo's a 40 guy, but he's a 357 SIG guy too. I have a shooting video of this I'm going to be putting out soon. Man, you wish you were, says, love my Star BM. Me too, man. Me too. Llamas. No, I'm familiar with the llamas. I don't actually have a llama, though, but I'm very familiar with them, and they're neat little guns. The 22s, the 380s. Yeah. Nope, you got me on that one. Okay, poor conservative will be the 40 guy. And by the way, I haven't had time to watch crap. I need to go over there. You've probably put up your your new Jericho 40 video, haven't you? I really haven't been paying much attention to YouTube, guys. I saw Michael Science video come through, and I just kind of could tell by the thumbnail I needed to watch that one, and that's why I said make sure you pray for him, guys. But, yeah, poor conservative. He'll be the 40 guy, and Mateo can be the 357 SIG guy. But, yeah, go check out Poor Conservative's channel, by the way, guys, if you're not familiar. He's another Michigan guy, hell of a nice guy, and from what I understand, there's a new video out with a new Jericho 40 caliber. So I'm sure you guys will like that. The man you wish you were says not too crazy about the old military pistol holsters. Like to use them in an IWB. Yeah, for actually carrying it and shooting it. Yeah. But I like to have them in their original holsters because it's just cool, So if you've got a Yugoslavian holster, you go M57, I like to keep one of these around just because it's, looks good, right? But would this be my favorite holster to carry? I don't know. Maybe if it was open carry, but yeah. I like the Fire Stars too. I'd like to get one. But yeah, I like an old. Look, I'm a history buff, really. There's 2 aspects of me liking guns. The most important part is our freedom to fight against tyranny, to fight against bad guys, the government if needed, etc. That's the most important part. But other than that, my collecting and, into the specific older guns and stuff, it's really because I love history. History and political history, like if you don't understand history, then you're doomed to repeat it, that type of thing. That's kind of what interests me about history the most. So when I say I like com block guns, yeah, I like the guns, but I don't like anything to do with communism or the com block. Not at all. Okay, hold on. Mateo said the poor conservative can be the 40 guy, but only after he's defended the 40 in a Jaeger video 3 or 4 times, which I know Mateo has. So, yeah, you're going to have to go over there and see, he blocked you, but that's where you have to, I guess, make a poor conservative #2 asterisk account so you can still get in there and try to teach him, because the man's done his best to destroy the 40. He's basically had one mission at hand for a couple years now, to make it where that caliber completely and utterly doesn't exist. You guys can decide whether you like his channel or not. I could care less. It's just kind of sort of a proven fact that he hates the 40 and believes it should no longer exist, and yeah, just trying his best to get rid of it. Oh yeah, this Astra. I showed it last week. I'll show you this real quick, and then I'm going to sign off here, guys. Where's it at? Yeah, this one's pretty new. I mean, I think this is a, obviously like a surplus, but an unissued one, because I can't really see anywhere. Maybe a little bit of storage dirt on it, but this is pretty nice. So this is an Astra model A50. .765 millimeter. Parentheses 32. It says on the barrel. I thought it's weird how they put 32 on there. Most of your foreign guns don't do that. They just put 765, and it's up to us dumb Americans to be able to translate, right? But yeah, this is pretty cool. Kind of an oddball. Like I think I said last time, this isn't necessarily valuable, but it's quite uncommon. You don't see a lot of these on the American market. It's a little pea shooter, kind of in the PPK Makarov type design. Fixed barrel release down under here. Comes up and off on an angle. Yep, you're right. Everything is a lie. You can swap barrels. That's exactly what I did with that rig I showed you. I've got it set up for all three, and really only 2 types of magazines. Same mag for the 40 and the 357 SIG, and then I will use a dedicated 9mm mag normally for 9. Although I have shot 9 successfully a good many times out of a 40 mag, and not really had a problem with it, actually. So, looks like there's a few 40 guys in here. I'm not going to have a lot of 40s in the collection because, again, you only need so many tools. After that, it's just me collecting what I'm interested in. Me being more into milsurps and whatnot. 40 isn't really that much of a military caliber, right? So, you're not going to find a pistol from the 19 teens or 20s or 50s or 70s or 80s that's chambered in 40. So that's just why you're not going to see me with too many of them. But do I want to get rid of the caliber? No. Am I a 40 guy? No. And it's fine. I could care less. I would never, ever want to knock what you like, though. It doesn't make any sense to me. But for some reason, there's people that have had a hard on for 40 for a while. Man, you wish you were says, yeah, you better sleep with that Astra underneath your pillow. It might just walk away. Ninja Scout says 40 is the best round ever made. Okay. Which, again, that's fine, guys. It really is. Not my favorite, but hey. Seth's here. What's happening, Seth? Well, hi, Seth, and goodbye, Seth, because I'm just getting ready to sign off. So if anyone else wants to say hi to me that I missed, again, it wasn't intentional. Say hi real quick. And I'm getting ready to sign off here any second now. Because work again tomorrow morning, and it's a little hot in the shop. Trying not to complain, but you guys can probably kind of tell. I mean, it's a little warm in here. Oh, come on now, poor conservative. He says 40s for 9mm guys with stronger wrists. Are you saying I'm weak? Come on. Now, I'd have a lot more 40s if it was a military caliber and it was something that, there were milsurps of, to be quite honest. Ninja Scout has 40 Afghani Iraq bringback mag, 17 rounders. There you go. No, and it does. I'm not saying it hasn't been used in military, guys. It's just you guys know what I'm saying. It's not a frontline military caliber. Yeah, you'll find in certain countries where they're kind of bringing guns from home. I get it, but I don't think, unless I'm mistaken, that NCIS, what military is that? Now, I know police forces, a lot of them have obviously been yeah. So whatever. Yeah, and it's the whole thing that's weird, you know, like something that's current military issue, I don't really consider a milsurp. It's kind of weird, isn't it? But yeah. I do not believe the Navy or Marines has 40 for their standard issue. So, you know, the way this works is there's going to be SOCOM and special contracts and different things. I get that. Everything probably is used to a point, but what would be considered, you know, standard issue? Okay, so NCIS is part of the Navy, but is it Navy? Okay. It's too late to argue about these little details, but I'll stand firm with what I said. The 40 has never been the standard predominantly issued cartridge for any military. I'm fairly confident I can say that. So, and yeah, everything's a lie. Love all guns and all calibers. There you go. I think there might be just about this many more 9s than 40s in the U.S. services, or maybe like this many more 9s than 40s, but yeah. Hey, unless they're lying to us, you know, I look at the defense authorization funds, and they said that the Beretta M9 chambered in my 9mm was their standard issue. And then they said now that the SIG in 9mm is their standard issue, but I could be wrong. I'm sure you guys will all prove me wrong, but I know 9's the standard military cartridge for the United States today. And before that, it was the 45. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. It's almost 1 in the morning, and I'm pretty tired. So, just checking the comments one more time here, but it's way past my bedtime. But no, it was fun hanging out with you guys. And if you guys want, you know, more about AKs, pistols, whatever, streams are kind of like where I like to take requests and stuff. So, let me know. I'll try to oblige the best I can. But yeah, it's been good hanging out with you guys. And now I've started a 40 debate. Didn't mean to do that. Oh, well, it's all good. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.